Knicks fans, we already know what's popping. Knicks hired Coach Fizdale. Let's talk about it. Let's get in it. What's popping, people? And here we go. It's about time. Something happened. We all know what happened. The Knicks hired Coach Fizz. And of course, Coach Fizdale was a favorite of the chat. And man, I'm excited. I'm real excited. I'm super hyped, super excited. And I just said super hyped because I just seen John say super hyped. So it made me say super hyped. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about it, y'all, because I feel like I said before, the past, this was one of the most important coaching hires in the Knicks franchise history, in my opinion. Right? One of the most important coaching hires. Because the Knicks are at a crossroad. And they needed to make the right move. And I think they made the right move today. You know what I'm saying? They definitely made the right move today with Coach Fizz. He's going to be hard-nosed. He's going to be a player's coach. And he's going to work well with management, I believe. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's going to be a win. It's going to be a win. I really think it's going to be a win. Coach Fizdale, he brings everything that I believe we were looking for in a coach. Everything. Everything. You know, he was my #1 choice. I wouldn't have been mad with David Blatt. I wouldn't have been mad with Coach Bud. I wouldn't have been upset with Jay Stackhouse. I wasn't as crazy about Mark Jackson as other people was, you know, because I was afraid that it was going to be too combustible. You know what I'm saying? So Fizz was my guy, and there was a big reason that Fizz was my guy. The big reason Fizz was my guy is because of his professionalism. And I feel like the culture that I think Scott Perry is building, Fizdale signifies. It's like he's a microcosm of that culture. You know what I'm saying? I mean, those guys, they seem like-minded. You know, they seem like almost like one and the same person in the mannerisms and, you know, their thought processes. So I think it's a win. It's a win. You know what I mean? And I think we're going to be a better team for it. We are going to... I feel really, really good. You know, because I feel like the Knicks, for once in a long time, are a well-managed organization. That makes me feel good because I feel confident that they're going to make competent decisions. You know, the way they went about the coaching search, and listen, it's New York, so you're gonna get flack about anything that you do. You know, I seen some of the writers out there, you know, talking about how the coaching search was too long and they went through this and that or whatever it was. They called the coach, you know, they called it phony or said Frank Isola said it. You know, he said either the coaching search was either the Knicks knew who they were going to hire and it was a fake coaching search, or they didn't know what they were doing. You're going to have your pundits everywhere. Although I do kind of agree that the Knicks knew who they wanted to get. You know what I'm saying? They knew that they wanted Fizz. They contacted Fizz before they even started the coaching hire. You know, I think they knew that was the guy, but they needed to do their due diligence, and they did that, which gives me confidence about our executive team. And I just seen somebody ask me where was I when I seen the announcement. I was at my daughter's track meet, you know, so I couldn't jump on Couldn't jump on right away, which I wanted to. I really did want to, but I couldn't jump on right away. You know what I'm saying? I was, just was hanging there with, with some of the girls that I coached was there, my wife, and just watching everybody perform. So it was fun. It was fun. So I couldn't jump on, but I was excited to jump on tonight. Couldn't wait to get on. You know what I mean? And talk about Coach Fizz and the New York Knicks, because I think this begins and it starts a new era in New York Knicks basketball. It doesn't mean that he has a magic wand. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that at all. So I think we've got to, we need to temper our expectations, and not feel like he's going to right away turn the Knicks into a championship contender or even a playoff contender. I think we need to temper our expectations and just let the man come in and start to redefine our culture, redefine our team values. And we've got to let that happen. The media has got to let that happen. Because the media already, and Frank Isola is the #1 culprit. And, Frank he may get wind of this or see this. That's cool. I'm not worried about it. You know what I'm saying? And shoot me a tweet, send me a message or something like that. He seems to do that. Send out a little nasty gram over Twitter, and then maybe block me or something. I don't care. I remember one time, and I no longer have the messages. The messages are gone. But Frank Isola, I said something. I wrote a blog about the New York media and how they treat the Knicks and whatnot. And then he sent me a nasty message. And it wasn't just, a sentence. It was like a paragraph. And I was like, what's up with this dude? And I responded back to him. He didn't block me though. You know what I mean? He didn't block me at that time. But then I went to Knicks Media Day, and he seen me there. And we didn't say anything about it, but I seen him looking at me like, oh, snap. I sent this guy a nasty letter or a nasty message. I could see it all over his face when I told him who I was. I don't know why he does that. I don't know what's up with that. You know what I mean? If you got something to say, just say it in public. If I guess he doesn't want people living off of, if he says it in public, then other people are going to retweet it and do all these other things. He don't want to give anybody any fame. I guess that's why he DMs them. But he's got a short. He lets people get on his nerves a little bit. But let's get back to Fizz. Forget about Frank Isola. I only brought up Frank Isola, man, because already we have the media talking about Fizdale, talking about the hire. So what did Frank Isola say already? He said, the Knicks go out and hire a coach that can't get along with a European big man, that couldn't get along with a European big man. What's going to change in New York? Or however he said it. And I'm like, I read it. I responded. It was in a tweet. I responded. I just said, KP's not Gasol. But why already? Why can't we just rejoice in what is a very smart hire, was diligent work by the front office? Why can't we just enjoy it? It can never happen in New York Knicks fandom. Never. You know what I'm saying? Never happened on New York Knicks fandom, and I don't get it. Listen, if you have your opinion, cool. I get that. Everyone's welcome to have their opinions. You know, but some people, man, they bash the Knicks no matter what. You know, and that's something that Fizdale is going to have to get used to, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. He's going to have to get used to this New York media and how to handle this New York media. You know, because obviously it's, you know, it's a whole new beast all by itself. You know, but it's a very smart hire. You know what I'm saying? Exactly, Jeffrey. We can enjoy it here. No matter what, who else is saying whatever, we can enjoy it here. Because Fizdale overwhelmingly was our guy. You know what I'm saying? He was our guy. You know, there were some people who had some opinions. Some people liked Black. A lot of people liked Coach Bud. You know what I mean? But I, you know, and I was okay with either. But I really did want Fizdale just because of what I think he represents. You know, and about everything that went down with Fizdale and Gasol and how it ended in Memphis, you know, I'm not concerned about it because everything that I've read and quotes that I've seen from other players is that Fizdale is a player's coach. Ace, I'm definitely happy I got my guy. I'm happy about it. You know, I'm rejoicing in it because I think we're moving in the right direction. But everything that I've read about Fizdale, players love him. You know, and he holds players accountable. You know, he understands today's player. You know, and I think he's gonna change things. And I feel like, and this is just me, and maybe it's off of, you know, because, you know, we made a good hire, we made the hire, and when you make hire, you know, when you do something positive, you're going to have, you're gonna feel a certain type of way. You know what I'm saying? And everything positive that you feel is gonna come out at one time. But I feel like we're really setting ourselves up to have something that lasts over the long haul. Not something that is well, it's not like we're trying to fix something temporarily. They signed him to a 4-year deal. Right? That's you know, that's a pretty long time, 4 years. You know, Hornacek was signed to 3 years. 3 years seems like a standard number. They signed him to 4 years, and I think they signed him for that length of time. And I think Fizdale is gonna be here for the entire 4 years. I think that he understands that we're gonna be in a rebuilding year next year, and that his job is to come in and build team values, build or continue to build and help Scott Perry build the culture that they're building and let it reminate through the team. You know, and I think that's part of his job, man. And listen, he turned down the Phoenix Suns. Not that the Phoenix Suns were anything to write home about. Turned down the Phoenix Suns so he can come to New York. He could have, like I was watching The Jump, and what they were saying earlier is that Coach Fizz was the hottest coach on the market. And right now, the Knicks were actually selling themselves to Coach Fizdale. So I think it says something. If they were correct, and I believe them. You know, it was Brian Windhorst who said it, and I believe him. And if that's the case, then I think that's a feather in the cap for the front office. Because if Coach Fizz had his choice of the litter, and he chose the Knicks, now maybe they offered more money, I don't know. But if he chose the Knicks, then there's something that he's seen, something that he saw within the strategy to improve, the plan to develop players, their plan to become a championship contender one day. There's something that he saw there that he believed in. And so he decided to join up. You know, I feel like people like Coach Fizdale, maybe not just Coach Fizdale, coaches overall, and highly, highly coveted people for certain jobs and things like that. If you have the pick of the litter and you know you're going to get a job, you probably look for positions, or you look for companies that have goals that are aligned with yours. You know. Now, if you're just looking for a job, you probably don't care if their goals align with yours or not. But when you have your pick of the litter, you're gonna pick someone who you feel you have the right chemistry with. You're gonna who you feel, like I said, your goals line up, and that you can work with, a place that you can go and feel comfortable. So I think that says a lot about this front office. If that's true, I think it says a lot about the front office. You know. So now we have our coach, and now it's his job to bring in his assistants. You know. So then, is Woody next? Does he bring in Mike Woodson? I think it is. I think it would be a positive to bring Mike Woodson back to New York. You know, Mike Woodson, you know, in the last 10 to 15 years is one of the winningest coaches in the last 15 years, second behind Jeff Van Gundy. I think he'd be the perfect person to bring in without it being a threat to Coach Fizdale. You know, if you brought in a Jerry Stackhouse or a Mark Jackson, and then Mark Jackson or Jerry Stackhouse brought in Coach Fizz, or the front office brought in Coach Fizz, then maybe that would be a threat to Mark Jackson or whoever it was. You know, if one of those coaches had someone like Mike Woodson as their top assistant that the organization brought in, they might feel it's a threat. I don't think that would be the case at all with Woodson being the assistant to Fizdale. I don't think it'd be the case. First of all, I think it wouldn't be the case because I think it would be Fizdale's hire. You know, and I think that Fizdale also fits the same. Woodson fits the same mold as Fizdale, as Scott Perry, and I'm even gonna throw Steve Mills in there. I think that he fits in that mold. You know, when Woodson was here, he was nothing but professional. You know, he was one of the guys who, you know, even when they brought in Phil Jackson, he was professional about it. You know, and I think that he exudes that professionalism as well. I wouldn't have been mad if the Knicks would have hired Mike Woodson as the head coach. I wouldn't have been mad about it. You know, I would have been excited for him to like he said, come back and finish the job. I would have been excited for him to finish the job too. You know, but if he comes back as Fizdale's top assistant, I'd love it. I love that. I think they'd work well together. You know what I'm saying? I think that they'd come to the team with the right philosophy. And then now you have people, you have both of them are players coaches. Mike Woodson is a players coach. You know, he's kind of like that father figure type of guy. You know, and for Fizdale to have someone like Mike Woodson there, where Fizdale can really relate to the players, and Mike Woodson can be like, Fizdale can be the big brother, and Mike Woodson can be the father. You know what I mean? The father figure. You know, that type of a duo, I think, will be super important for young players. You know, for the young guys that we have on the team, and I think it would build an all-around positive culture. All around positive atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? If you bring in Mike Woodson, if Fizdale hires Mike Woodson. And Mike Woodson, listen, I just seen somebody say that Mike Woodson is humble. Humble he is. You know, how hard would it be for some people to agree to work under someone that you hired? For some people, that'd be a problem. That's like Melo going to the bench, right? Melo said, I'm not going to the bench. Disappoints me that he said that, right? It disappoints me that he says that, but you know, that's his ego talking. I'm not going to the bench. I'm not gonna take that role. That's what Melo says. I'm not done. I still have more to give to the game. I'm not going to the bench. Mike Woodson has a different thought about it. Yeah, I hired Coach Fizz, but now Coach Fizz is hot in the game, and I'm willing to work under Coach Fizz because I know that we can work together. You know, that takes a big man to do it. So I kind of hope, I'm hoping that Fizdale brings in Mike Woodson, and I think he might. You know what I'm saying? It'll be it's going to be a nice sight to see. So we're starting new, man. We're starting fresh. We're starting new, and it's happening for us. We should all be excited because I think we are witnessing the beginning of something that's going to last. You know, something that's going to be sustainable. You know what I mean? For real. So, give me a call, man. I want to know what you guys are thinking. I want to know what you guys are feeling about the hire. What you guys feel about Mike Woodson. Where the organization is going. You know, how we looking moving into the future. Because I think we're looking pretty good. You know what I mean? I think we're looking pretty good. And, you know, we've got to get some talent in here for sure. You know what I mean? More talent. But, you know, I'm anxious to see what Fizdale and maybe Mike Woodson can do with these guys here. You know what I'm saying? I'm just anxious to see what differences, you know, what differences will we see on the floor and the way the guys dedicate themselves. Big shout out to CP the artist. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. You said, I can't wait for Fizdale's first post-game interview. Me too. For sure. And Isaiah, I seen you called in. I didn't get to it. Call in again, my man. All right, I got Ron Martinez on the line, so give me a call right after Ron. I'll make sure I get you on, all right? So let me get my headphones on here. Ron Martinez, what's popping, bro?
What's up, bro?
I'm feeling good, man. Feeling real good.
A new day.
New day, man. New day. And
thank God.
Hey, I feel like we're truly starting something. I feel like Scott Perry, Steve Mills, they're truly starting something that's gonna last. How you feeling about it?
Well, to be honest with you, I'll let you get that.
Nah, I'm good. Go ahead. I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, to be honest with you, he wasn't on the top of my list, but as a plan B, I'm good with that. I'm good with Fizdale.
Okay.
He wasn't my top choice. But the thing is that I heard that he's supposed to be making a trip out to what's the country that KP's in?
Latvia. Exactly.
Latvia.
Exactly. Latvia.
I heard he's supposed to be flying out there to meet with KP.
Yep, I read that as well. And you know what?
Go ahead, brother.
No,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, and that's a big move in my opinion, because that article, that article that I read, you know, Coach, you know, Phil Jackson didn't fly out there. Jeff Hornacek never flew out there. You know, for a new coach to say, I'm gonna go halfway across the world so I can talk with you, meet you personally if we haven't met before, talk with you and just talk about the team and the culture that we're trying to build. That's big. That's big.
I guess he learned his lessons from Memphis.
Right. Yeah.
Because you think about it, I mean, KP's the face of the franchise right now. It's KP's team, you know?
Yep.
You know? And I think and sometimes these coaches, you know, these coaches they're human beings. Sometimes this coach, look at Bill Belichick from the Patriots. You know, he didn't have success in Cleveland. Then he goes to Cleveland. Now he's considered the best coach of all time. But no one was saying that about Bill Belichick when he was with Cleveland.
Right. Exactly.
You know? Right. So sometimes, who knows that maybe we're gonna get the or maybe you know how they say somebody else's trash is someone else's treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that whatever didn't work out in Memphis for whatever the reason was. He said it in some interview that he said, "Hey, it just didn't work out." Maybe I'm praying that maybe we're the ones who are going to reap the benefits for what didn't happen in Memphis.
Right. Right.
That's what I'm praying for, brother.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. And the thing about that's a lot of people that didn't want Fizdale or people that didn't want a Fizdale. That's their biggest argument. He couldn't get along with the star player. And I think that's blown out of proportion a little bit. When you look at, Fizdale is what, 40, 44, something like that, somewhere around there.
He's a young coach.
He's a young coach. And
that was his first head coach job, right? That was his first head coaching job,
Yep, that's his first head coaching job. And then you look at Marc Gasol, it's a little bit closer in age to Fizdale than someone like Porzingis is, right? Marc Gasol is like 32, 33 years old. That's a little bit, that's kind of close in age. Because you figure at the time Fizdale was, 42 years old or whatever it is.
Right.
When you have players that are close in age to the coach, that's an interesting dynamic, right? Because they look at them, they might look at them as equals.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about someone like Porzingis who is 22 years old, and then you have Fizdale who's 43. I just seen Frank say he's 43 years old. KP's gonna look at him differently than Marc Gasol did.
Yeah, it's more. There should be more respect there. I would say, because the gap in age.
Yeah.
And that's the danger sometimes when you get players that are close in age with the team. Sometimes they'll look at it as like, well, we're only about 4 or 5 years apart. Like it's like you're like a big bro to me. You're not like that father figure.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But getting back to what you were saying before about Mike Woodson. People forget. It was Mike Woodson had a lot to do with JR winning the Sixth Man of the Year. Remember, JR didn't want to come off the bench.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike Woodson had a lot to do with that. So J.R. Smith basically, he got that Sixth Man of the Year, but it was Mike Woodson who convinced him to say, "Hey, I think you can help our team coming off the bench," and he won 6. And he played defense.
Mm-hmm.
J.R. Smith is not known for defense, but under Mike Woodson, he was playing defense.
Exactly.
So, I would love. I mean, I don't know if Mike Woodson still wants to look for another head coaching gig, but I would love. That would be nice if they could bring Mike Woodson to add it to the staff. Now I think we got something there. If you bring Mike Woodson on board, hey, that's a nice combination. Yeah, it is right there.
That's a nice combination, and because listen, as a head coach, everyone always points to the head coach. Obviously, the head coach is going to have is going to be the fall guy, but when you're talking about adjustments and even player substitutions, the head coach can't do it all. It's just impossible. So you've got to have strong assistants behind you, because truth be told, your assistants are feeding you adjustments to make. They're feeding you, different strategies to use. Sometimes your assistants are the ones that are really making the substitutions, and you're just managing once they get on the floor. The head coach I'm talking about. So you've got to have someone like Mike Woodson, who's been a winning coach, a winning head coach,
right?
To be an assistant that can help you make adjustments, help you manage players on the bench, help you manage egos, make adjustments for you, make substitutions, all those type of things. I mean, that's I think that is something that's really overlooked in the NBA.
It is, and what's crucial also is that I don't know if I don't know too much about Fizdale's bio, but did he ever play college ball or pro ball, Fizdale?
You know what? I'm not sure. That's
because
a good question.
Woodson is a former NBA. Woodson was an NBA player, so he played in the NBA.
He played for the Knicks. He was drafted by the Knicks, I believe.
Right, and I think that sometimes I don't know who it is that I heard make the statement one time. I heard it. I think it was a former player one time, but he said that when you hire your staff, I think it was Bill Parcells from the Giants. He said, when I hire my coaching staff, I'm hiring a guy that I believe can do my job or better.
Right.
that he said that when I hire my staff, I have to see coaching material. In other words, that he hire a staff, but if I bring you on my staff, I got to look at you as that I can see you eventually, if not with this team, someone else being a head coach, like you head coach material. Because when you have that type of years of experience, that type of, I mean, obviously, of course, you want to have, it depends also with the chemistry between the head coach and the assistant coach. But, something like you said, when you're a head coach, you're delegating responsibility. Okay, you coaching defense, you're helping these guys with free throws, you're helping these guys with, and that makes the job for when it comes to those key decisions. Basically, everything doesn't fall on the head coach, especially if you have a head coach, because today's, like they say, today's players, when they were saying they were looking for a new head coach, you notice in the press conference, they're like, well, we need to have a coach that, that covers, that we're turning every stone because we want a player that could relate to today's player. Because a lot of times you bring a head coach that, wants to coach today's players the way they coach players in the 80s and the 90s. And that's, today's players is not the same player as, like, you can't coach a player today that way you coach the players in like a Charles Oakley or Mason. You can't coach some players today like that. It's a different game, different players, and
different mindset.
Different mindset, and also sometimes, and this because you're a coach that, Popovich, as you can see over there, Popovich and coaches like that, they have a certain way of coaching, but certain players, you can get in their face and it will light up a fire. And then other players, you got to pull them to the side, have a little. I used to see one thing I used to like about Mike Woodson is that when a player came off the floor, he didn't wait till the next day. He stopped the player right there. Mm-hmm. It was a teaching moment. He's like, let me tell you. You can see him that he was telling him, this is why I'm taking you off the floor. This is what you did wrong. And then the guy goes to the bench. Right. I never used to see too many times. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't see Jeff Hornacek do that too many times. But that's one thing I like about Mike Woodson. When I would see a player come off the floor, it wasn't so much about substitution. Like, look, this is a teaching moment. Maybe he has to, like I've learned, like with my kids, I've learned sometimes that the best time to teach something is when it happened in the moment, not tomorrow, next week, like right there. Like if you screw up right there, that's the best time to say, why I'm pulling out no, I don't know. This is why I'm pulling out the game.
Exactly. Exactly. Especially because, the longer you let it sit, the longer players or your children, whoever, they start to formulate their own ideas of why it happened. Uh-huh. You know what I'm saying? And their ideas may not be the reasons that you pulled them out the game or, whatever the situation is. And if they start to formulate the wrong idea, then they may go back in the game and do something else to try to fix what they did before. And that's not what you need them to do. Right. So right there, when the iron is hot is when you need to strike.
Exactly. When it's fresh, nice and fresh, right there when it comes right off the floor, it's like, because I've seen sometimes in some games, some coaches where it's the assistant coach going to the end of the bench, the player's punching the chair, he's throwing a tantrum, and the head coach is standing on the sideline. But but I like the type of coach who's like, no, I'm not gonna let my assistant coach. I'm gonna be the one talking to them. I'm gonna tell them this is the reason why I took you out. It's nothing personal. It's this is a job. I'm a head coach. You're a professional ball player, and if I'm taking you out, hey. Because one thing I like about Popovich and some of these other head coaches is that they're not afraid to pull out the best player off the floor.
Right.
And some head coaches, I guess because maybe they don't have the cachet or they don't have the, they don't have the stones or whatever. They're like, hey, but sometimes if you pull off, sometimes you could be the best player. Like, look, brother, you don't got it tonight. I got to go to my bench.
Exactly.
Tonight's not your night.
Exactly.
I got to pull you. And I think other players, young players, because we have a young team right now, but if KP doesn't have it that night, Fizdale, which I believe he's the type of player, is like, listen, KP, I'm sorry, but, you just don't got it tonight, man. We're going to have to give you some rest. What happens if you leave a player in the game, KP's struggling, and then he gets hurt? Nah, that's even worse. Now he got hurt. I'd rather have KP on the bench, take a rest, bro, take a breather, put in Dotson, put the bench players, because how the bench players can only learn so much from the bench. You got to be on the floor, bro. You got to be on the floor.
Right. For sure, man.
I'm a big believer in that, and so I'm just praying that this is just the beginning, and now the temptation is that I don't know if this thing with Kawhi is gonna get, if it's gonna start picking up steam, but I hope they don't try to play the Knicks and try to ask for that 9th pick because that's gonna be a dangerous situation where it's like, look, if Kawhi's gonna be a free agent eventually, unless he signs an extension with another team, I don't know. I don't know if we want to go through Carmelo Part 2, where we
Yeah,
give up the farm.
yeah,
That's on my only concern. I like Kawhi Leonard. He is a great two-way player, but he is coming off an injury. But right now, I'm so psyched about who we're going to get in this draft, and it's like now we don't need a distraction. We're all of a sudden we're all getting hyped for the NBA draft, and next thing, the Knicks are talking about trading for. It's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? Like, we don't want to be going. But one thing I was going to ask you is this the first time in New York that we've had a black head coach, a black GM, and a black president all at once?
yeah. It is. From what I understand, it is.
So this
First
is like
time.
history.
It's history, man. It's history. You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean,
It's history. And
the chance of black owner, that's not going to happen. But I mean, this is like, I'm thinking about it. It's like, man, we got a black head coach, a black president, a black,
yeah,
GM.
yeah, it's history.
What other team in the NBA has that or has done that?
It's history, and it. I mean, listen, people say and talk what they want about James Dolan. You know what I'm saying?
But I think they gotta get it though. They can't hold that against them.
Can't hold that against them. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said earlier, if anybody would have been open to hiring a woman, we were talking about Becky Hammond.
Right.
I think James Dolan would have been cool with it.
Yeah, he probably would have been one of the first ones.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Ron, man, thank you for the call, man. I know I got some people that want to call in. All right.
All right, bro.
All right, bro. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right, bro. Take care.
All right, peace.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just to piggyback off some of the things that Ron was just talking about, man. One of the things he was talking about how you've got, the head coach might go talk to players when he pull them off the floor, instead of just having your assistant go down to the end of the bench and talk. But then there are times when, and of course he's right. You want to have a coach that does that. You know what I'm saying? Because players want to hear from the head coach's mouth. You don't want to, when you're a player, you don't want to hear what the assistant thinks the head coach is thinking. And sometimes players are going to have better relationships with the assistants than they have with the head coach. It's going to happen that way. But you don't, you want your head coach to have that relationship where they can say whatever they need to say to certain players, and players will understand it. But you also need to have an assistant, or all of your assistants fully understand and grasp your philosophy, or whatever philosophy you come up with together as a coaching staff. Everyone needs to grasp the concepts, so that when you are working with those players one-on-one, the assistants are, they're portraying the same information that the head coach would. Those assistants are so important, because for the most part, they get more one-on-one time with the players than the head coach does. So they've got to communicate your message the right way. You know what I'm saying? And if they're not communicating your message the right way, then the players aren't going to do what you want them to do on the floor. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it's not just all about the head coach. The head coach gets his team together, or her team together, and they come up with the concepts and ideas together. That's how it should work. And then they take that out to the players and feed the players the concepts and communicate it with them. You know what I'm saying? So these assistants that Coach Fizdale are going to bring in, they're important to any coach's success. Any coach. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that the Knicks have done in the past. To me, that's been part of the failure of coaches in New York. They would come in and already have 3, 4, 5 assistants there, and they'd say, we want you to coach, but use these assistants. Use these developmental, whoever. I understand you're going to have some people organizations are gonna have some people that they keep around. You know what I'm saying? But the head coach has got to bring in their assistants because it's their message that has got to be communicated to the players. You know, Isaiah, man, what's popping, bro?
What's good, Simeon? It's official. It's a really official when I say black is time. It's official.
It's official.
I'm really proud of that. I'm proud of that, man. I'm proud of that.
Yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud of it too, man. And
you know, we could just not. Cause I'm gonna try to knock this. I'm trying to knock all my thoughts off in 5 minutes. I don't like, you know. It's usually not ignorant people in the chat, but don't be ignorant. Don't say he got the job because he was black. Don't be ignorant and say that. Don't be ignorant. We all know he's a great coach. He was really, before Bud, this was everybody's first choice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want people to be ignorant and say he got it because Steve and Scott were black. That's not the case. We all know he's a phenomenal coach. He was the #1 coach on the market before Bud. So let's knock that off. Let's knock that off the plate first.
Yeah, I don't think, you know, because he was black really had anything to do with it, with him getting the job. You know, I mean, it happens to be, and you know what? I'm proud of it.
I'm proud of it too.
You know, for people who are African American in the chat, they know that it means that Steve Mills, Scott Perry, Dave Fizdale, you know, it means that they've got to step up to the plate, and it shouldn't be that way, but you know, they've got to step up to the plate, you know, because they're paving the way for other organizations to possibly do the same thing. You know, but really, you know, I give a shout out to owner James Dolan too. You know what I'm saying? Because he's letting it be, and you know, people throw a lot of hate James Dolan's way. You know what I'm saying? But you know, he's like, hey, you know, we have, if we're the first organization in the NBA to have an all-black management team, then so be it. As long as we're doing our job, I don't care. You know, shout out to him for that.
Nah, for real, shout out to him for that. So I'm gonna knock it off like this. First and foremost, Frank Ios, whatever you say his name, is one of the biggest.
Frank Isola.
Frank Isola is one of the biggest haters I've ever seen, and I saw it today when I kept going through Bleacher Report and I kept saying every comment was negative, and mind you, a lot of it was false because he tried to say his first year he didn't lose, he lost. That's not correct. He won. He had I think he was 43-39 or something like that.
I think it was 43-39.
Over his first year, he got, mind you, everybody knows the Memphis Grizzlies grindhouse, mid-range, low post scoring. They scored 90 points. That is a good game for them to score 90 points type of offense. He got them shooting three. He got Marc Gasol shooting threes, Zach Randolph shooting threes, shooting more threes in their careers, shot more efficient, passed the ball, got them in 1 year, changed them from a grindhouse kind of scoring team into a modern three-point team. That's amazing, first of all, and still kept the defense playing really good. Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, and this shows what kind of man Dave Fizdale is when he had beef with Marc Gasol last year during Europe. He flew to where he was playing during Europe, Euro League Championship, and they talked like men. He went over there, talked to them. He talked to Mark before I think the next season, because I think they had problems, or whenever they had problems, he went over there, talked to him, and they squashed it. Even Gasol admitted that, you know, it was part of him too. So people got to understand that about that situation. And, you know, I automatically love the fact that when he got hired, he's flying to talk to KP. That's big. And I heard supposedly he's supposed to go to France after he talks to KP. Mm-hmm. Supposedly he's supposed to go to France to talk to Frank.
Well, that'd be good. That'd be good. You know what I'm saying? That'd be good. Go talk to them guys. You know, find out what they need. And, you know, those to me are signs of a leader. Everyone thinks that a leader is the person that, you know, stands in front and everyone does things for them. When in all actuality, any leader who is a true leader, a leader is a service position. So a leader finds out what you need, and then they see, how can I get that for you so that you can be successful, right?
Exactly.
So the fact that he is going to Latvia, and you say you see that he's going to go to France, he's going to France to see Frank. That means that he's coming to them to say, what do you need? What do you need from me? What do you need from management? And let me know. We're going to try to go get these things for you so that you can be successful and we can be successful as a team. That's a leader.
That is the most. And also, I want to shout out to most of the Knicks players, because once they found out, a lot of them, I think it was Timmy, it was Frank, it was Kanter, Dotson, Mudiay, all the guys posted, Fizdale, and they said, I've got the hashtag, but they all welcomed them. And I think that's truly, 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 truly very big and very special that a lot of these guys shouted him out when they found out he got. And I heard management call, even though I think every management does it, but management called all of them before they broke the news to say, hey, we hired Fizz. He's the guy now. You know what, man? I just want to, like you said earlier, Simeon, this feels, in my 24 years of being a Knicks fan, I've only felt this good since Mike and when we first got Phil, because I thought Phil was going to take us somewhere. I haven't felt this good about Knicks management pretty much ever. I feel relief. I feel like they're not going to do what old Knicks management does. I don't see them doing the crazy. I just don't see it. I don't, because they get it. You know what I'm saying? They get it, and I think they understand, because even I was reading stuff today, one of the interview questions leaked out, and one of the questions was, how are you going to develop Frank?
Right. And
that to me showed me they think like how me, you, and a lot of the other guys think about Frank, in the sense of they see because if we see it, I know for a fact that they see the tools that Frank has to be a great point guard in the league. And that's big, that one of the questions was how are you going to develop Frank to become the next the player he needs to be? And I believe Fizz can definitely do it. I think he sees his Mike Conley with a lot more upside, because he's definitely taller than Mike Conley and has a really good shot. So I'm happy with Knicks management. This feels really refreshing. And I really do believe that we are on a really, really, really good track. And we just got to stay the course and do what we got to do.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%, man. I think that I think we're on the right track. We're doing the right things. I trust Scott Perry and Steve Mills. Listen, a lot of people talk about Steve Mills. One thing that I read just the other day, and I actually think it came out in December. It was a conversation about Steve Mills and his relationship with Phil Jackson, and how his relationship with Phil Jackson went sour because Steve Mills felt like what was happening was not working and that they needed to change. They needed to change the values of the team. And Phil Jackson was, he disagreed. And so they started to have some riff. Now, the thing, of course, with Steve Mills is, he's James Dolan. That's James Dolan's guy. You know what I mean? He's basically James Dolan's eyes and ears. You know what I mean? But I think it lends to, Steve Mills, his mindset as well, is probably aligned with Scott Perry, which I think makes it makes the duo that much more stronger.
Yeah, because you know what, real quick, Sammy, again, a lot of, and I read a lot of articles, man, and you know what, one thing about James Dolan, I think he really tries. I really do. I think he tries, because one thing, I read a lot of things. One thing people have said, he wants to win, and he will spend the money to win. I think what happens is when he trusts the wrong people, like, I hate to say his name, Isaiah Thomas, he trusted the wrong people. But I think with Steve, he finally got a right of the right person to trust, because he like James Dolan even said it himself. I'm gonna just move on I'll write the checks. I'll move on to the side and do my music or whatever he does, and I'll let y'all run the basketball. They will inform. Steve is gonna inform him because that's his guy, and they're gonna take care of the rest. And James Dolan even said it. He like the media's gonna fool you, but he said it. We're doing a process. We're gonna be patient, and we're gonna go through the process. We're gonna go through the due diligence. We're not gonna do bad trades. We're not trading first round picks. We're not doing none of that no more. That's over. Mm-hmm. It hasn't worked for 20. It didn't work for 20 years. I'm gonna say this: if I can take 2 or 3 more years, if it means we're gonna be good for another 10 or 15, I can do that.
Right.
I can do that. If I can do this for 24 years and only have 1 year of a good Knicks team, I can do 2 or 3 more years and actually have a successful and have a real chance of not just being mediocre, but actually competing for championships and going to the finals. I can live with that. I
feel you, man. Hey, Isaiah, man, thank you for the call as usual.
Yes, sir. One more time, Blackest Time. It feels good to say that officially.
All right, bro. For sure.
Have a good one, man.
Peace, man. Peace. Yeah. And going back to, about the Knicks and having an African American management team. I don't know. I think CP the artist said maybe they're not the first. Maybe they're not. Maybe they are. I don't know. But and this, and for those, for my non-African American brothers and sisters out there, it really doesn't have anything to do with, race per se. It's just, as an African American, when you have, an achievement, just like any other culture that's in the U.S. or in any other place, you're gonna feel proud when people have, some kind of an achievement. That's all it's about. So we don't want this to become a race thing. We want this to be a Knicks thing. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it a Knicks thing. But I'm definitely proud of that. I got my man Tony Crow on the line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's up, my brother, man? How you feeling?
Hey, Blackest Time. What up, chat?
I know you gotta be feeling good, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm ready. The process can begin now.
Yeah. And listen.
What's up?
I know a lot of people say, they're saying, we don't have, we got to get some talent in. And we do have to get some talent in. But we also do have some talent. We got KP, and he's injured. But, and he may not be back. He may not be back next year. Who knows? But you got Frank. He's talented. If people believe in Trey Burke the way that they believe in Trey Burke, he's got some talent.
We know
what I'm saying? And then, you got Tim Hardaway Jr., who is talented. And I really do think Fizdale and Mike Woodson, I don't want to speak on Mike Woodson like he's already here, but if you have Fizdale and Mike Woodson, Tim Hardaway Jr., I think, is going to be on point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I think he's going to be on point. And, I think, I mean, we got some guys here. We got some people. And then you got some young guys and like Troy Williams and, can't think of his name now. Shooting guard. His name is slipping my head. He's slipping me right now, but you know what I'm talking about. Number 21. 21. Now, not Courtney Lee.
Who else is that? Two guys. Hardaway and Lee.
Rookie.
Oh, Dotson.
Damian Dotson, D-Dot. You know what I'm saying? I think they'll both be good for Damian Dotson. And then we'll see what happens with Kanter.
Yeah.
If Kanter opts in, to tell you the truth, if Kanter opts in, I can see this going one of two ways. This could be very interesting with Kanter, right? Because either they can help him to, they might be able to help him defensively. I believe they could help him defensively. But Kanter could have the same issues with Fizdale that Marc Gasol had with Fizdale, right? Because Fizdale helped Marc Gasol change his game just a little bit enough, extend it out to the 3-point line. Can he do that with Kanter? See, Kanter is a back-to-the-basket guy. Fizdale knows the game has changed. You know what I'm saying? I see that being the main issue that Fizdale had with Marc Gasol. The game changed, and Marc Gasol is a more traditional center by nature. You know what I'm saying? And so is Kanter. That could be an issue, and that could go into Kanter's decision. If Kanter is truly considering to opt out, I think that could go into his decision.
Well,
what do you think?
I don't think the issue was about him shooting threes. I think Gasol actually liked it. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't mean just shooting threes, because he did expand his game out to the 3-point line. But the whole thing of being a traditional center, you know, the game is a little bit more slow when you play through the post. Gasol does play in the high post some. It's harder for him to guard some of those more versatile centers and fours and things like that. And I think that played into it.
That's so. I think like defense is going to play the most important role. Whether, you know, not saying whether he resigns or not, but if he resigns, that's going to be determined if he's on the floor. He might be a little bit more strict than Jeff as far as pulling him. But the thing with Kanter is, as bad as everybody says his defense is, and it actually is, like, he still produces. When you produce at the rate that he produces,
yeah, you know, I mean that's one of the things that kept him on the floor this year, is that he produces. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, he's a hell of an offensive rebounder. We wouldn't have been in games as much as we were if it wasn't for Kanter, especially early on in the season.
Oh, for sure. And we might have won some of them games he got pulled out because he wasn't playing defense in the fourth quarter, where we lost because we couldn't score or we couldn't get a rebound.
Right.
Because I mean, Quinn is a real good defender. So, I mean, I get it. You know what I mean? I like them both. I like what both of them do. If I had the option, I would probably say O'Quinn, because he plays defense, and I believe if you do the numbers per game and do the minutes per game, it's about the same as far as points and rebounds. You know what I mean? Like per 36 or whatever. So, yeah. I mean, I prefer O'Quinn.
And I think O'Quinn, because of his activity, his energy, I think he's going to be a favorite of Fizdale. I think he'll be a favorite if he sticks around, of course. You know what I'm saying? If he's still here.
O'Quinn extending his range and becoming more of a threat at the 3-point range, I could definitely see.
Yeah. He already began working on it.
Yeah, I mean, he's been working on it, but like he said, he's not going to shoot it until, you know, he learned his lesson. He got a little trigger happy, like maybe his first or second year with us, and he learned that. So now he doesn't shoot him unless it's shot clock or you know, he's dared to. But I was talking with my boss the other day. I'm like, man, we interviewing a lot of coaches. And I was thinking that, you know, I was wondering if maybe they asked these head coach candidates who their potential assistants would be, and they might have interviewed them as well. And maybe that's why there's so many, you know, like Juan Howards and the Kenny Smiths or whatever the case may be. Like some of the people that, you know, you would think like, man, that you interviewed him, it might have been for an assistant position.
Right.
Per request of the potential head coach.
Right. And that could, I think that could very well be. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these guys that we heard in the mix end up being assistant coaches
on staff. Yep.
And if did Juwan Howard, was he coaching? Did he coach in Miami with Fizdale? Juwan Howard coached in Miami at one point as an assistant, didn't he?
I believe he did. I don't believe he's there now, but I believe he's somewhere now. But yeah, I believe he definitely was in Miami.
Yeah, I think I know he was in Miami. I don't know if it was at the same time Fizdale. May have been at the same time Fizdale was in Miami. And I mean, you know, you put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. I'll have to Google it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Good old Google, man. Good old Google. Mm-hmm. Let Google do it.
That's interesting. But yeah, I'm excited, man.
I'm excited.
I think he's gonna be good for us. You know, I think we take our time. We shouldn't have any expectation.
Right. I think that's key, man. Let's not to have too many expectations and to think that he's gonna just take a magic wand and turn the Knicks around in one day. It's gonna take some time. You know what I'm saying? We've got to be patient. We've got to let it happen. New York fans got to let it happen. New York media got to let it happen. You know, we got to let it happen. And show some patience. It's encouraging, though, that they signed him up for 4 years. You know, they didn't do, 2 or 3 years. They signed him up for 4 years. Give him some time. Give us some time to really develop and turn into what we want to be. So I'm encouraged about that.
I definitely am too, man. How about this playoff series, man? I might have to not watch it and just get on after the game. Wait for the alert.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. I thought Philadelphia. I didn't think Philadelphia was going to beat the Celtics, but I thought it was going to be a tougher series than it has been so far. Of course, you know, tonight's game was a little bit closer. You know, Philadelphia had 22 point lead, and they let it go. I mean, I think a lot of it's because they're young. You know, and then we can't say enough about Brad Stevens and what he's doing with Boston. You know, and I hope Fizdale is in the same mold MOLD as Brad Stevens. You know what I'm saying?
Brad Stevens, I hope so too.
You know, because you know what he's doing without his, you know, Jaylen Brown is injured right now. Then you don't have Kyrie, you don't have Hayward, and they're still winning. I mean, and that goes back to, you know, developing that culture. And when guys come in, they fit into that culture. And once they fit into that culture, and you say, you know, you demand it from them, this is who we are about. This is what we do. These are the values of our team. And if you're not part of this, then you've got to go. You know, when you establish that, people will fall in line, and you can have sustained success. So hopefully Fizdale brings that same exact thing to the Knicks, because Boston, man, it's I mean, they're doing it.
The biggest thing we need right now is the potential brought out of our young guys, because and if that can happen, if every one of our young guys can reach their max potential, we're gonna have something. Like, you think about, you know, a while back we was talking about what Mudiay is like 21, right? Like still 21.
Yeah, Mudiay is like, he's 21 still 21.
Like that's nuts. Like, regardless of the defense and whatever, like, if you're still just looking at potential, his size, his build, his athleticism, if he can reach max potential, if a guy like Burke can reach his max potential, if Frank can reach his max potential, I'm not even going to talk about KP. I'm just talking about our young guys. If Dotson can reach his max potential, if a guy like Cornette can reach his max potential, then we could have something special.
Yeah. So, and I think that Fizz and Woodson, if Woody comes, I think they can get it out of him. I think they can. Yeah. I think they can. You know, I think they can pull it out of him for real.
I'm with you, man. I'm gonna keep saying Woodson an assistant until it happens. I'm gonna speak.
Yeah, we speak it into existence.
That's
For
right.
real. Yeah. All right, Tony, man.
Chat. Yo, Black, it's time. Son. Keep doing your
For
thing,
sure.
man.
Appreciate it, bro. Peace. Yeah, so my next question, and of course you probably know the answer for me, but I want to know what you guys think about it. Can Fizdale handle the New York media? Of course, it's already started, right? It's already started. The pressure is already on, and he's already handling it the correct way by, the reports that he's going to travel over to Latvia and visit KP. Visit Frank in France. Those things are already encouraging that he's level-headed. He can make the right decisions. Can he handle New York though? That's a different beast altogether. You know what I'm saying? It's something different altogether, and it's already started in the media. And I think he can. What do you think? Do you think he can handle New York? See, I think he has the right type of temperament. I think that he's been in broadcast positions since he's been not coaching. And you don't get into a broadcast position, especially as a coach. If you're a player, you might get into a broadcast position because of your name. When you're a coach, you've got to have some kind of skill. You know what I mean? And an ability to handle questions coming at you and those type of things. So I think that he's skilled enough to handle the New York media. I think he's intelligent enough, and I think he's professional enough to handle the New York media. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know too much about his past, to pick on things about him besides what happened with Marc Gasol. And there's some articles about him and Marc Gasol. You know what I mean? Go out there and look it up and get the full story on that situation. You know what I mean? My man, Ron Cleveland. What's popping, my brother? What's happening with you, man?
Man, Simmons. Hey, I'm going to start it off at the beginning. The Knicks will be back. About time, my brother, about time. Hey, I'm loving the hire. Of course, everybody know I was down for Mark Jackson. Mm-hmm. But if we couldn't get Mark Jackson, man, realistically, I started reevaluating some things and looking at the scene, NBA scene, and I'm like, okay, who out there that I wouldn't mind coaching the Knicks? Okay. All the guys we interviewed, I said, okay, well, Fizdale got to be top of the list. Budenhauser, I would have liked to have him. I would have really liked to have him, but I like the whole idea of what they're trying to accomplish. I mean, you want to have a coach that can connect with this younger generation of players. You know what I mean? And I kind of worried about Budenhauser with the media, New York media, the looks he be having on his face on the sideline sometimes. I'm like, I don't know how he would, you got to be even keel when you're dealing with the media in New York. And so I think Fizz would be able to handle that. The thing I like about Fizz the most is the fact that not only did he come up under Woodson, we know Woodson preached defense. He's a guru when it comes to defense. But the fact that he's been with Riles, being with Riley, we know Pat Riley coined the phrase, man, what win championships?
That's right.
No defense and no rings, no rebounds. No rebounds, you're not winning no championship.
Yeah.
You're not winning none. And I think he's going to hold Tim Hardaway and everybody on the team accountable. You won't see a bunch of ill-advised shots. I can guarantee you that. The minute some ill-advised shots go up, you're going to see a timeout. Somebody's getting yanked.
And, yeah. And I think that he brings that. He's going to bring the same type of mentality and grit that was in Miami. He's going to bring it to the Knicks. That's what I feel. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? I think he's going to bring it because that's where he was brought up. That's where he was taught. That's where he learned all of his principles.
Yeah, and,
you know what I mean?
People in the chat, be talking, but this ain't the 90s. Of course we know this ain't the 90s. We know what it is. We know what it is. But the one thing you can't deny in any sport, if you can't play defense, you're not winning.
Right.
You're not winning. And you look at the teams right now that's kicking people tail in the playoff. Boston, defensive minded. You look at Utah, defensive minded. Look at Golden State. Everybody go crazy about their offense, but their defense ain't no slouch neither. And even Philly. You look at these teams, man. LeBron team is but the only team really that's a terrible defensive team that's in the playoffs, and they only in there because LeBron doing what he doing. You scoring 40 points a night, your team going to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And LeBron is LeBron. You know, LeBron is LeBron, and you know, you're not gonna. It's hard to beat LeBron. You know, I never really thought that. Like, just looking at the playoff series right now, and I don't mean to switch it on you just because you brought it up.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You know, I never thought Toronto was really gonna have a chance to beat the Cavs. I thought maybe they would win 2 games. It's looking right now like they may not win a game. They just don't have it.
No.
They don't have anyone who's not afraid of LeBron. That's the one thing about Indiana. Lance Stephenson's not afraid of LeBron. You know, I think that's one of the reasons why they brought Lance back, because he's not afraid to get in LeBron's face. And not that if you have a player that's not afraid of LeBron, it doesn't mean you're going to stop LeBron, but at least, you know, you can
impede him. You can impede his progress. You can slow him down a little bit. You can't stop him, but you can slow him down.
Exactly.
It'd be like a little speed bump. You know what I mean? But I tell you this too, Sam, and this is something I thought about too, man. This playoffs, I was telling guys at work, man, I said, look here. I said, and they talk about Houston and they talk about Toronto. I said, man, don't let the regular season fool you, man. There's levels to the game, man.
Yep.
You got preseason basketball, you got regular season basketball, you got playoff basketball, and you got championship basketball. Guys can play good in the regular season, but when them lights come on and the pressure start getting tight, guys start showing who their true colors are when the game is on.
Right.
And I always said this about Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. Them guys are great regular season players, man, but I don't trust them in the playoffs. The same thing with James Harden and CP3. Neither one of those teams I trust. And I'm telling you, I will not be surprised if Utah sneak Houston. Toronto series is over. I won't be surprised if they get swept. I will not be surprised if they get swept out the door.
I tell you what, man.
And
Utah surprised me.
Not scared.
Who?
Donovan Mitchell is not scared, and that's my vote for MVP.
Yeah.
There's no way Simmons can be the MVP when the guy can't shoot to save his life, and he can't shoot free throws. How can you be? And see, they go back with these big names, man. Yeah. That guy, there's no way he should be the rookie of the year. He can't shoot free throws, and he cannot shoot a jump shot. How many points he had tonight?
Well, but rookie of the year, I don't think they base it on playoffs. They base it on regular season.
And still, if you look at their numbers, his numbers ain't better than Donovan Mitchell, man. No way. And you should never be able to exclude the playoffs from voting. I don't understand that, because that's a part of your season.
Now,
you can't help it that your season kept going.
Now, so you think they should make those decisions at the end of the season?
That's what I think.
At the end of the playoffs?
What is it going to hurt?
All right. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, listen, Utah surprised me. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that
they did too.
I thought that Houston was gonna take it to them in game 2. Utah came out and jumped out to a 19-point lead, gave it up, let it slip, but stayed in there, stuck in there, had enough gall and stick to itiveness, to pull out the victory. Now they're going back to Utah, tied 1-1, and they could make it a dogfight.
And Ricky Rubio ain't even in there.
And Ricky Rubio's not there.
The way it needs to be ran, so it's Houston in trouble, man. I'm not going to be shocked if they lose this. And they don't have an answer for the guy that had Paul George wrapped up. What's his name? Oh my goodness, he had 27 points the other night. Ingles.
Oh, yeah. They
don't have an answer for him.
Nah, nobody has yet.
Nobody.
That guy can ball, man.
Yeah, and he's not afraid.
No, he can play,
Mitch
man.
Ain't afraid.
He can play. He's got that little smirk and smile about him. He can play.
And another thing, Sam, your boy Gobert ain't really had a great game yet.
Who?
Gobert.
Right.
Rudy ain't had a great game yet. He's due.
Yeah, we'll see what they do, man. Utah is tough.
Yeah, they're not
tough.
a team to be slept on. But
No,
I tell
they're
you,
not.
back to our Knicks, man, I really love the direction of the team, man. Finally, what I'm seeing, and people can bash Dolan all they want, and I listen to Stephen A. Smith, man. That guy really gets on my nerves, man. I'm gonna be honest, buddy. he really gets on my last nerves, man. Everything comes out of his mouth about the Knicks is something negative, man. I mean, at some point, you got to at least, you claim you're a New York fan. You from New York, man, and support your team.
Yeah.
What have they done right now to let you say, well, oh, you're going to jump off the bridge? I mean, come on, man. Give the guys a chance, and that's the problem. Patience is lacking, and you gotta allow for patience, especially when your cornerstone is out hurt and probably won't be back next year. We building.
Yeah.
We building, but they're doing things the right way, man. I'm listening to this dude talk, man. Everything come out of his mouth but New York is something negative.
So has he said anything about Fizdale?
Well, he kept saying, this was
about the hiring. Has he said anything about the hiring?
I hadn't heard anything lately about it, but when they were talking about interviewing him and he was champion, Mark Jackson, and rightfully so, I understand why. But what he was saying is that, all these guys are good coaches. I just listened to him just yesterday. He was saying all these guys are good coaches, but, Mark Jackson, he connects with us and he's this and he's that. But all these guys, they got good resumes, but they can be a coach somewhere, but we need Mark Jackson. And like, you just excluding these other guys, man. As much as I love Mark Jackson, man, and I think he would have been a good hire, there's a reason why he's not being hired. You feel me? It's a reason why. And it is a lot of baggage with it. And and I'm somebody who, when it comes to religion, I feel strongly about my religion, but you got to be careful with that. In any sector, any kind of realm, any kind of job, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
And you start voicing your opinions over everybody and you alienating the front office from you, and you can't do that. And that's what I love about the Knicks' direction right now. Everybody seems to be on the same sheet of the music. Even James Dolan. He's stepping out of the way. He's continuing to cut the checks, and he's going to let the guys run the team the way they're supposed to be ran. And I remember listening to Hahn and Humpty, and they were talking about the same thing that he did with the Rangers. Right. He stepped away from the Rangers and let them guys who know the game.
Let them rock. That's right.
Exactly. And that's when the Rangers turned around. So it's just a matter of time. You can't knock Dolan for what he did with trying to bring Phil in there. But the biggest thing I think that happened for Mills is seeing how not to run the ship, the way Phil was doing it. So I'm not worried about Steve Mills. He's not going to run things like Phil. He saw what Phil did. He alienated his best player at the time. He lowballed his trade value. So he saw all that. The bickering going on between the team, no cohesion between. He ain't coming out and giving no press conference. We've had more press conference with these two guys than Phil had in 4 years. Yeah. Almost 4 years, rather.
Yeah.
So I like the direction, man. Sam, keep doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it, man.
You know what time it is, man. Let me hear you say it, baby. Let me hear you.
The Knicks will be back. And I think we are on the way. We on the right path.
Yes, sir, indeed. And shout out to the chat, man. Hey, y'all keep doing y'all thing as well, man. Hey, the Knicks is brighter days ahead. You can bank that.
That's all right, bro. Peace out, Ron. Thank you for the call as usual, man.
Later.
Yeah, we made the right choice, Knicks fans. We definitely made the right choice, in my opinion. And we got some things going on. But with Fizz, I think he's going to be able to handle the New York media. That was a question that I had on Twitter. Someone asked me, do I think Fizdale? This was actually yesterday because, I just tweeted out, Fizdale and Woodson. And, someone asked me, do I think Fizz can handle the New York media? And definitely, I think he's going to be able to handle it. I think he's going to do a good job with it. And I think that I don't think there's going to be any problems there. Because he'll know what to answer and what not to answer. I would like to go back to something that Tony Crow said. He brought up that with so many interviews that the Knicks did like 11 interviews, some guys that you wouldn't expect to be on the list. How much of that was them filling out, just checking out the landscape and seeing who could be assistants. Not that Scott Perry and Steve Mills would be choosing the assistants, but the Knicks contacted Fizdale before they started interviewing anyone. They contacted Fizdale. So I think that Fizdale was probably their number one choice all along. I mean, to be honest with you, and we said it here in the chat, that, with the way they turned around and how quickly they fired Hornacek, that they had an idea of who they wanted to hire. You know what I mean? And I think it turns out to be correct. I think Fizdale, they knew that they wanted to hire Fizdale. We said it here in the chat. I spoke about it earlier. I said if they're going to fire Jeff, they need to fire him and move on with someone so we can get him in before we do pre-draft workouts, have that person ready for the draft. If they're going to fire him, they should have in mind right now a list of coaches that they want to interview. And I think they did just that. I think they knew. And maybe some, of course, they got to do their due diligence and see who's out there. See if somebody presents something that is just innovative and really makes them look that way. You got to do that. That's the only way to do it. And when you do that, you also you bring in more ideas. You hear things from other coaches, and you get their perspective of what your front office is like, what free agents, especially if you have coaches that have been coaching. If you have coaches that have been coaching, other teams, you know what I'm saying? They hear from their players whether or not they would go to the Knicks or go to this team or go to that team. So you get that perspective. You know what I mean? And you get some ideas. And I wouldn't put it past the Knicks to have used that interview coaching carousel as a way to bring in some ideas, as a way to possibly seek out assistants. Maybe they already knew they was going to bring in Fizdale, and they found out from Fizdale, who would you like to have as an assistant? And we can begin that process now. You know what I mean? It's possible. I got on the line my man from the French Knicks podcast. You know what I'm saying?
All right, bro.
So I want to, what's up with you, man? Big shout out to you.
How are you, bro?
I'm feeling good. Hey, before I get to you, let me give a shout out to Mighty Knicks.
Yes,
he hit me with 2 super chats. Mighty Knicks. He said he wanted Coach Bud. He just wants to put that on the record that he wanted Coach Bud. And then he says, I don't know where this fits into our topic of Coach Fizdale, but he says Dennis Smith Jr. equals Westbrook, Rubio equals Frank at Lily Phillips. I guess he wanted to make sure Lily Phillips seen it. You know what I'm saying? But and then I want to give a shout out to my man Eric Tomlinson. You know what I'm saying? I seen him on here. Big shout out for joining the chat, my brother, man. I haven't spoke to you in a minute. We need to link up, see what's popping. You know what I'm saying? Get you on the show. For sure. That's my man. All right. French, what's up with you, man? What you know about Frank? I know he's home. You got any news for us about Frank?
I see him 2 days ago.
You seen him 2 days ago?
Yes, sir. He was in great shape. He was so happy to come back to France, to see his family, his friends, and he worked so hard. And I'm so happy for you and for the team, for the Knicks, for every Knicks fans. We did the right choice, even if I prefer Mike Jackson. But I think we did the right choice.
Okay.
Because you said the truth. That in 1 hour of your show, I see all you say, and you're right 100%. You see patience. You see, like you said, Scott Perry take time to interview all the potential coach, and he takes, the best things of every coach, and he say to Fizdale, we want you since the first day. and we have all the good things about Frank, all the good things about KP, all the good things about our young roster. Can you develop? Because Hornacek didn't develop our young players. He didn't trust in the young players, and I know that Fizdale did that with the Grizz, and he will do that with the Knicks. And you did everything great, and you said the right things. The Knicks are back.
So let me ask you. So what is Frank doing right now? I mean, did you get a chance to interview Frank? Did you get a chance to interview him?
I spent 1 hour with you and many friends of the Knicks, the French Knicks Nation, you know?
Yeah, I seen
association. That. Okay, so we spent some time with him, and we just asked how we feel, you know, for the future, and did he learn something in the season for the next season?
Okay. And so is that going to be on your podcast, or is that on the French Knicks Nation podcast? I think they have a podcast too, right?
We in the next week we will doing a podcast with everything Frank said to us to explain to our French community, you know.
Right.
So I can translate you in Twitter if you want next week.
Yeah, that'll be what's up, because it's going to be, I know it's going to be in French.
Yeah, so I will translate. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I took French in high school. I got a D. I got a D in it. You know what I'm saying? I got a D, and luckily I had taken a test. I took a test when I was in middle school in the 8th grade, and that test gave me credit to graduate from high school with French. So then when I was a freshman, or when I was a sophomore, I was taking French, and I had a D, and it was preventing me from playing ball, so I dropped it. So I definitely
French
do not know
language.
French. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely need you to translate for me. But how is he doing? What's he doing? Is he visiting his family? Is he working out?
Yeah, no, so I will explain you. I did on Twitter a tweet about his schedule, everything he did every day. But the first thing when he came back to the US, so the first thing when he came back to France, he go to Strasbourg, you know, to see all his family, because his family is in Strasbourg. So he spent 5 days, with his family. And he go to the Strasbourg game when he has a banner, you know, at the roof of the Strasbourg, you know, stadium. So he spent some time, he relaxed, and now he's in Paris.
Now he's in Paris. All right.
Yeah, and he worked with many French, and I think there is one US coach, you know, training partner, you know, and many accessories to train about his handling, his shot. He go to the gym every day, and he takes some muscle at shoulder, traps, arms, and legs.
Okay.
And we see one good things about Frank. He said, "Do you think stronger?" And he see, I eat a lot, and I spend so many time, you know, in the gym or in the b-ball court. You know, it's good for the future. And I know he wanted Fizdale.
You say he wanted Fizdale. That's what he wanted. Okay.
Because he wanted a young coach, you know. To speak to the young players, because he's only 19. Never forget, he's a kid.
Yeah,
he don't want like Hornacek, you know, who is a little bit older with Rambis as an assistant, and Rambis never helped him to improve. You know, he was alone. Yeah, and he didn't like that. You know, he wanted to have more support. He has support with Jared Jack, but he's not the head coach. You know,
so let me ask you: do they have any street ball leagues in Paris or Strasbourg? Any street ball leagues?
No. He will come back to the States in 10 days, and he will do many pickup games and street balls. He don't do that in France.
Okay. So he's gonna be back in 10 days. That's what's up.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
10 days from the time that you guys interviewed him.
No, 10 days today. So
10 days from today.
Yeah, I think it is I said on Twitter, I think it is 15 May or 18 May. I don't know. I don't remember, but in 10 days or 2 weeks, he will come back to New York, and he will call Fizdale. He said that when we have a coach, he will call him, because the first thing he said, I want the playbook right now to rock. I don't have to lose time, and I have to rock harder and harder than everybody in the league. And he talks about what he learned during the season, and it was so interesting for every Knicks fan, French fan. Sorry.
Okay, that's what's up, man.
If you as Knicks fan have to know one thing, he said next year he will shoot more and more, because this year he was more, to stay why the Knicks, draft him, make the first pass to KP, hard defense, high defense on pick and roll. This year he will say that I will take first shot,
So he's gonna be looking to be more aggressive this year.
Yeah, and more aggressive at the rim. He said he want to go to the rim and have free throws, and it's good for the Knicks. You just giving this summer in October, he will be a diamond, like I said, since the day one. And like you said, if we are patient with Scott, with Fizdale, with KP and the injury, with Frank, he only has 18 years old, so keep time, please, Knicks fan. I know we want to go to the playoff, we want to win, but if our process is to, another lottery year, but with more talent, and maybe Kawhi in 2019, it will be brilliant for the future, like you said.
Yeah,
we are back.
Okay, that's it. Hey, French Knicks podcast, man. I thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate it. And
7 a.m., bro.
We always, we always gonna be checking in with you. You know what I'm saying? You are French connection. We're gonna be checking in with you to find out what's happening. You know what I mean?
I translate all the interviews of Frank did in France. So he did 5 interviews, 3 TV, 2 radios. So if any US fans have a video to send me on Twitter, I translate you in English, no problem.
Okay. All right. So, so when did you say? Let me know. Hit me on Twitter or whatever it is. Let me know your when that your podcast with Frank is going to be published.
Okay, I will tell you in Twitter.
Yeah. Let me know when it's going to be published and everything, and if you could, we could get it translated and so that way people can, U.S. fans could hear what he's saying.
Yeah,
and that could help you out big time. You know what I mean? To get people listening, jumping on the podcast so they can hear.
He did so many details, and it was all details. He said the most important thing is, if you think the physicality of the NBA is the more important thing, so you understand nothing. He said the IQ basketball is more important. If you see Westbrook, he did always the same. Harden, he did always the same. It is the big problem is the player, who are, always different things on the court, never the same, Yeah. And it was very, very important to note that, because everybody say, triple-double Westbrook, it's great things, but no, Westbrook never win, bro.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. And we have some questions in here. We have some questions in here about, can Westbrook really lead a team to a championship?
Yeah, I know that. Do you think John Wall, with his big physicality, can win something? He will never win something. He did always the same thing.
Right. Yeah.
And the smart player win. J Kid win. So Magic win. So I think Frank will win.
All right. I'm with you. Hey, French. Thank
you
for the call, bro.
Always love, bro.
I know it's early in the morning over there. You're probably on your way to work. Bro. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you have a good work day. All right?
Thank you, bro. You too.
All right. Peace, man.
Peace.
French connection, for sure. You know what I'm saying? We need that. And eventually, maybe one of these days, man, we can finesse that, getting Frank on his show. You know what I mean? That's what we need to do. Elijah Moon, peace, my brother. Peace out. Next thing, let's talk about some players that Fizz would want to keep. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some people on the team that a lot of people in the chat. My man Emmanuel, do me a favor, give me a call back. Give me a call right back if you can. But a lot of people in the chat may not like some of the players, or at least one of the guys that Fizz might want to keep. You know what I'm saying? But he's going to keep some guys that have the same type of temperament as him, that have the same ideas, the same philosophies as him. You know what I mean? One guy that I think he's going to keep, that I think our chat may not be amenable to, our chat may not like, is Lance Thomas. I think Fizz is going to like Lance Thomas. If Mike Woodson is brought on as the assistant, I think Mike Woodson is going to like Lance Thomas. You know what I'm saying? And they may be able to get the most out of Lance. You know what I mean? Emmanuel, what's popping, brother?
What's good, bro? Good day. It's a good day today.
It's a big day. It's a big day.
Man, I told you, Fizdale.
It's a big day, man. Yeah, I feel good. I feel good. I'm happy about it. I feel real good. You know what I mean?
Great.
Yeah,
I feel great about it, man. And like when I first brought up Fizdale, nobody really knew, but I'm telling you, you gotta check out that interview with Michael Rapaport that he did on his podcast. Everybody should check it out. That interview, he went in there prepared like it was a job interview.
Yeah.
He knew what he was gonna say that was gonna appeal to Knicks fans, because Michael Rapaport is a Knicks fan.
Mm-hmm.
And he just knew. And through that interview, he was talking to Perry and the Knicks organization. I feel that way. He was talking to the Knicks fans.
And when was that interview?
Interview for now, that was like a month ago.
A month ago.
When I first brought up Fizdale. That was like right after the firing.
Okay.
That was right after the firing. He had that interview. And
how much you want to make a bet they had already reached out to him before that interview?
Hey, it could be possible. It could be possible because that interview was right around the time of his firing, maybe even like a week or so before or after.
Yeah.
It was right around that time, because when that happened, we had like a show like the day towards around the closing of the season, towards the end of the season, when we had that show. We had a show towards the end of the season, and that's when I first brought it up. So it was around that time that he had that interview. I gotta look it up and then I'll let you know. Yeah. But it was around that time, yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: What players you think Fizdale is gonna keep? Like one player that I think he's gonna keep around. I think he's gonna keep Lance around. I think that he is the kind of guy that Fizdale would want. And if Mike Woodson becomes the one of his assistants, I think that Mike Woodson would like to have Lance around. He's, Lance is defensive minded. He's professional. He's gonna work hard no matter what. He's not gonna complain about playing time or his role. He's just gonna do what's asked of him. I think he's one of the guys that'll stick around. What do you think?
Yeah, plus what he does behind the scenes with the team. So
exactly. So who else though do you think will end up being a Fizdale favorite?
That's tough.
I think Frank will definitely be a favorite because he plays defense.
Not only that, Frank could guard 3 positions, and
Frank can guard multiple positions. I'm not sure about Mudiay.
Yeah, Mudiay is gonna be one of those developmental guys that I first talked about with Fizdale when he mentioned finishing around the basket. He's definitely gonna be one of those guys that he's gonna have to work with to finish around the basket.
Yeah.
Oh, before I forget that, this just popped in my head. Frank Isola, right? Works for ESPN, right?
Yeah, and the Daily News.
Fizdale works for ESPN, right?
Yeah. That's a good point.
Do you think they had some type of beef behind the scenes?
You know what? I don't know. It could
that
be.
That crossed my mind when Isaiah was on the line. I'm like, yo, because I hit you up on Twitter and I told you this dude, like, before he even got here, they're trying to assassinate him. Before the dude even is really official, like before the Knicks even put out a statement saying that it's official, they're trying to assassinate him.
Yeah, but, I know they trying to get him, and you know that's a good question because
they both work for ESPN. So now I'm starting to think that they had some type of rift.
It's possible. You know, wild stuff goes on over there at ESPN, man. You know what I'm saying? If you ever read some of the reports and some of the stories, some wild stuff goes on over there at ESPN. You never know. You never know.
It's the worldwide leader, right?
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you see, you know, Frank Isola had some kind of riff or whatever with James Dolan in Madison Square Garden. Something happened a while back, 10, 15 years ago, or whatever it is. And that's one of the reasons he's always coming at the Knicks. He's spiteful like that, I guess.
Yeah.
It's spiteful dude, man.
Yeah, he is. I think multiple people. Didn't you have a thing with him?
Yeah. I had a couple of times where he sent me, sent me some messages in my Twitter.
Yeah, that dude, he's soft. He has sensitive skin.
Yeah, real sensitive skin.
Where was that?
So we was talking about players. Players. Somebody said
he's
I see some.
O'Quinn.
I think he would want to keep O'Quinn. I think he would definitely want to keep O'Quinn.
Somebody said what?
I see someone said that he might like to keep Noah.
Depends on what Noah looks like.
Yeah.
Either way, you can't get rid of Noah.
You can't get rid of Noah, right? But will he use him?
I've been saying that they were. I feel like I was one of the first people that said that they were gonna end up getting rid of the coach and keeping Noah and bringing Noah back to see what he has. Because if you bring back Noah and Noah looks good, what are we gonna do? Because now we have 3 centers. So somebody's gonna have to either be traded or let go.
Yeah. And Noah's not gonna be able to be traded. That's that.
Exactly.
Noah's not gonna be able to be traded. Depending on if
unless he plays like a real small diminished role.
Yeah. Depending on if Kyle O'Quinn comes back, he may have the most tradable contract if we're able to bring him back. I think a lot's going to depend on what happens with Kanter. You know what I'm saying? I think that
but Kanter might be tradable. Might be I don't know, because it's like, do you want to keep Kanter or you want to keep Noah? And then I'd rather keep Kanter. At this moment, I'd rather keep Kanter, but I don't know what Noah is right now.
Yeah. Right.
And man, I don't know where his head is at, because this dude is like on some Kanye, on some, I don't know where this dude's head at. You seen the blonde hair thing?
Yeah, I seen it.
So this dude is lost. Like, these dudes is lost. I don't know. They get money and then they
I don't know. But Noah's always been like that. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of always had that hippie spirit. You know what I mean?
Listen, in some sense, I know people are gonna talk about this, but whatever. In some sense, when you think about it, do you see Boston play often? Or have you seen Al Horford's game?
Oh yeah, Al Horford, yeah.
You see how they can run the offense through Horford, right?
Mm-hmm.
Noah's, it's somewhat the same way, and I think they were in the same draft class.
Yeah, the only thing, I mean, the thing.
No, I mean they went to Florida together, so yeah.
Yeah. The only thing with Noah is that he doesn't have the same jump shot.
No, he's not as athletic and he's not as great scorer as him. But I'm talking about that they run an offense through him that no one knows where to be on the floor. He's a good passer. He knows where to be on the floor.
Yeah,
and he's a defensive guy.
And he's smart. He knows the game. He's smart.
Exactly. He's smart. He knows the game. And in that aspect, I'm not talking about offensively.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about defensively and knowing where to be on the floor and who to pass to. Noah did that in Chicago, and I still believe that's something that you could do now. That all it takes is effort. It's not a question on whether it's not scoring the basketball. It's just getting other people set up, and then you turning around to the basket and getting the ball.
Yeah.
The ball off the rim.
Yeah.
So I think he still probably could do.
Mm-hmm. And I think Fizdale, he might, I think he'll definitely bring him into training camp. I think he'll bring him into camp, see what he can do, see how he can help, and then go from there.
Because he has what, 2 years? 2 years on his contract, right?
Yep, he's got next year and the year after left on his contract.
Listen, he's at least has 1 year with the Knicks, right? He has at least 1 year. Then the next year, he might be able to be tradable, because you know how teams, they might want to dump salary or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So he might be able for that. He might be able to be tradable for that.
Yeah.
In that type of situation.
Yeah.
But right now we at least have him for this year, and the next year is a wait and see process.
Yeah. And see, I feel like Kanter, if Kanter opts in, which I still feel like he's going to opt in, because I don't think he's going to get $18 million on the market. I think that, but I do think that one of the reasons why, he said he's going to wait and see what's going on, make a decision later, is because he wanted to see what the coaching was going to be like before he made a decision.
Yeah, he seemed excited on Twitter, so it might be a thing where he's gonna take the option.
But I think that it could hurt Kanter that Fizdale is the coach, because I just see Fizdale, one of the reasons that
you don't think he could adapt to his game.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going. We'll have to see, or maybe Fizdale will adapt to Kanter a little bit.
I can see where you feel that way.
But I think that was some of the issues that Fizdale had with Gasol.
I think the issue, what I read, what I seen was, it was like a personality thing, like
that too.
Mark,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a personality thing where Mark was like he felt that he was phony because he was like getting along with everybody, and he didn't not that he was getting along with, he just felt like he was fake, like he was being fake,
mm-hmm.
and that he wasn't tough enough on the players. Mm-hmm. And then that was one thing that caused the rift, and then I guess it just,
and then
it bottled up, and then it got bigger from there.
Yeah,
so
and there was some times when Gasol got pulled out the game, and lost some playing time.
Like, once you don't like something about somebody, well, at least for me, once you don't like something about somebody and you don't say nothing, and then they keep doing little, like say like if I'm a player, say like I don't like a coach, right? There's something about me and the coach that doesn't go well, that he may not see, but I don't like about him, and then he's doing little things that I don't like. It's gonna end up getting to a certain point where I'm just gonna blow up.
Yeah.
So I think it was just more of a Marc Gasol thing than a Fizdale.
I think so too.
Because once he had that hidden, once you say I don't like this dude's personality, and then you don't agree with his methods, that's mostly on you, bro.
Exactly. That's on you. You know what I'm saying?
So,
And Memphis, you know, they got rid of Fizdale because it was easier to get rid of Fizdale than to get rid of Mark.
of course, because it's not a great market. So like, what is easier for you to do? You got a solid player there, and getting a new coach is easier than getting a new guy to go into that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
So of course you're gonna get rid of the coach. But who else? I think he might keep Troy.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think he'll love Troy. He plays fast, plays defense.
Yeah, he
I think
just
he'll
gotta
definitely
become a better shooter.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I think he'll like Troy.
it's hard because we have like so many decent pieces.
Yep.
It's like we have decent pieces. It's just we need players that you could put the ball in their hands and they'll go get you a bucket.
Right.
Talking about that, Tatum.
Man, Tatum, man. You know, a lot of people talking about Donovan Mitchell and he deserves all the props, but yo, Tatum is doing his thing, man.
Listen, Tatum should have been the number 1 pick.
I mean, well, you know, Boston, Danny Ainge, they knew what they were doing. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
they trade down, got him at 3. They knew what they were doing.
Listen, you know what I'm saying that? Who did Philly trade for to get the first pick? Trade with to get the first pick.
Who they trade with?
Boston. And they ended up and look what ended up happening.
Yeah.
They took Fultz. Fultz missed the whole season. If it wasn't for, like I said before, if it wasn't for what Mitchell and Simmons is doing, Tatum will be rookie of the year.
He'll be rookie of the year. Right.
Like I said before,
For sure.
he plays like he's like a more athletic Melo.
Yeah.
Like a today's version of Melo. So it's like, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah. For sure. Hey, Manuel, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate the call. Staying up late with us, man. Have a smooth day at work tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
You too, bro.
All right. Peace, brother. Yeah. So Fizdale is going to have some decisions to make, of course. Him, whoever his coaching staff is. But I think there's a lot of players on the Knicks that they might like, to tell you the truth. But then there's some that I feel like there might be problems with. And I think Kanter is one, just because I don't know if he's going to fit into what Fizdale's style of play. You know, Fizdale, he opened up Memphis's offense. You know what I mean? He opened it up and expanded it out to that 3-point line. You know, and I think, you know, that was part of the, without a doubt, there was some personality clash between Gasol and Fizdale. But the way that Fizdale was changing the game, I think that fed into their rift, Mark Gasol and Fizdale. And I think Kanter may have similar issues with Fizdale. You know what I mean? I still think that Kanter's going to opt into his contract. But if he were to opt out, that may be one of the reasons he decides to opt out. You know, is that he'd be concerned about how Fizz is going to use him. You know what I mean? I think that, of course, like I said, I think that Frank is going to be a favorite. I think that Frank is going to be a favorite. I think, of course, Tim Hardaway, you know, he's going to be he's going to play no matter what. I have questions about Burke, but you know what? Well, maybe not. Burke plays hard. You know, he really worked hard to play defense. I mean, I am excited to see what Burke does in the offseason to try to get better. I'm sure Fizdale will probably reach out to him and Trey Burke. I mean, he may, you know what? Mike Woodson and Trey Burke is looking for that mentor type of person, that mentor type of coach. You know what I mean? I think because of what he's been through in his career, and he went to the G League so that he could reclaim his career. He's looking for those type of mentors to help lead him. You know what I mean? So he may be very, very receptive to Fizdale, and if Coach Woody comes, Coach Woodson, he may be very receptive to them. And you know what? We could see a very good Trey Burke under Fizdale. I think we could. You know what I mean? Togar, man, what's popping?
What's going on, Sim? Shout out to the chat. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good, man. This is a joyous day for us. So, you know, how you feeling, man? How you feeling about this?
You know what, man? I'm feeling good. You know, I like the hire. For me, it was always Dave Blatt 1, Fizdale 1A. So, you know, it's like I think he got a raw deal in Memphis, so like we just capitalized on that, you know. Mm-hmm. Him coming to New York, him being one of Pat Riley's, being one of Pat Riley's students, you know, a student of the school of Pat Riley. Mm-hmm. I think he's gonna do some good things in New York. Hopefully, you know, it's just hopefully he doesn't come out as a phony to the players like he did with Gasol. So, I mean, but I'm sure, like, most of the stars like him in the league, so I'm sure he shouldn't have a problem, you know, changing the culture and getting everybody on the same page.
I don't think there's going to be an issue, man. I think, like I said earlier, I think that the thing between him and Gasol, one, they're a little bit closer in age than, players that are on the Knicks. You know, the Knicks have pretty much a young team besides Joakim Noah. Marc Gasol and Fizdale is a little bit closer in age. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got kids on the team. Frank 19, KP 22, Trey Burke 25, Mudiay 21. You know, we got a lot of kids on the team. Damian Dotson like 21. You know, when you talk about someone like Marc Gasol is a full-grown man.
Yeah, he's like 35, right? 33, you know what I'm saying? 34, something like that. 33 or something like that. You know, he's a full-grown man. He don't need him. He's not looking for a mentor. You know, and he probably thinks, you know, I've been around the game long enough. I know just as much as this guy. You know, some of those type of things lead into personality clashes, and I think that's what it was with Marc Gasol. I think there were a lot of things Coach Fizdale kind of had. You know, a different way of coaching. They had a personality differences. You had the age. You know, they were a little bit closer in age, so maybe the respect factor wasn't all the way there. You know what I mean? So I think that I don't think he'll have that same problem in New York. Yeah, definitely. He's only like 43, so you know he's still relatively young. I think he's gonna bring that pack mentality to New York. You know, like the whole team's a pack. With one pack of wolves, you know. Even though Noah is the same age as Gasol, I think Noah still has that pack mentality from his Chicago days with Thibodeau.
And Noah, you know, his career is fledgling. You know what I'm saying? So he don't have time to be upset like that. You know, he was upset with Jeff Hornacek because his career is fledgling. His career is going down. Yeah, and you know he wasn't getting the opportunities.
Definitely, and he wasn't like put in the position to succeed in Hornacek's offense. I don't think anybody was. I think, you know, KP was just getting buckets off his athleticism and just, you know, just because how nice he is. I don't think that system really did anything for anyone except Trey Burke. But you know, I think
now that Noah is in the position that he's in, he don't have time to have a personality conflict with Fizdale.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe if Noah still, you know, wants to go chase a ring, he can, you know, buy out, give back some of the money that, you know, we signed him for, and then he can go chase a ring being on the bench for a contender or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you know, he can, like I said last time I was on the chat, like he can slide right into KO's role
be that backup veteran guy at the end of the bench, keep guys in check, keep everybody in line, and just improve the team cohesiveness of the squad. And like I was thinking about the assistants. I think they should just let Fizdale bring his own assistant.
Sure.
But I mean, they should definitely bring up some names with them. Like if like Stackhouse, he might be a good assistant.
I think Stack's gonna get a head coaching job somewhere though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Going from the D-League head coach to an NBA head coach, that's a pretty big leap. I think that's like a bigger leap than going from Europe to the NBA.
I mean, yeah, but he's also been Stack. He coached as an assistant in the NBA for a while as well before he went to the D-League. As a matter of fact, he went from coaching as an assistant in the NBA to coaching in the D-League. I think he's gonna get a job.
Yeah, hopefully, I want to see him do good too. So I think he might I think Fizdale might like Jared Jack. Probably want him back to be a mentor for the young point guards.
He might. He definitely might. He definitely might because say what you want. Jared Jack was a heck of a mentor for those guys.
Yeah, definitely. I would listen to him mic'd up and just the things that he was saying, not just the point guards too, but like the other young players on the team like Troy or Isaiah Hicks. And I don't think Isaiah Hicks is gonna come back. I think they'll probably shift him into the the D squad. Yeah, but Cornette I think is another player that Fizdale can improve on. And same thing what he did with Gasol. If Fizdale could get Kanter to develop a 3-point shot, then I think that could really open up the offense even more. I mean, it's hard because, Kanter's play is suited for the 90s. If he was in the 90s, he would be an all-star. But in today's NBA, pace and space is really hard for him to get significant, meaningful minutes. Exactly. But, I mean, if he can get him to, if Kanter opts in and works this summer, just, finding a spot on the 3-point line just to get comfortable, just to hit a couple threes, like maybe 1 3 a game or 2 3s a game or something like that,
or even just be the threat. He doesn't even have just to be a threat. He hit a couple of them, he's going to be a threat.
Yeah, just to pull the defense out. Then I think it would do wonders for his game. It would open his game a lot more, and I think him and KP could just switch in and out whenever they want when KP returns. Man, I think Fizdale's gonna do a good job. I'm optimistic. I think so. I really like Scott Perry. I like what he does. He kind of reminds me of Billy Beane from the Oakland A's in baseball. Like he's a hard nosed, no nonsense. A player's GM, but also a GM that is going to do what's best for the team, Yeah. So
I think that. I mean, I think we made the right choice, and I think it's going to work.
Yeah.
This is one time I've had. There's been a lot of coaches that were hired, and I was always skeptical and didn't feel like it was going to work. I feel like this is going to work.
Hopefully, I'm optimistic. It's about time New York Knicks got back on the map.
Yeah, for sure.
When the Knicks are good, the NBA is good. Yeah. So it's about time we get that spotlight back. And hey man, honestly, anybody but Kurt Rambis was a good hire. Anybody but that guy. So that guy was just garbage. I hated that guy. So even when Phil was here, I hated that guy. So even when we got Jeff, I was a lot more optimistic than having Kurt on the bench. So now we got Fizdale, who's proven, and I think his track record says it.
There's some guys there that are already some of the former. Well, they're still assistants now. We'll see what happens with them.
Yeah. Now we got to capitalize on this year with KP being out. We got to develop our team. We got to get guys that have floundered in their careers right now and sign them to 1-2 year deals get their confidence up and flip them for assets and picks. You know, like Hazonia or Nerlens Noel or Okafor or, you know, any of these guys, young guys. I think Noah Vonleh or so. Yeah, like these guys that are about to be unrestricted free agents. Just get them on cheap 1-2 year deals because, you know, their careers are floundering, build their confidence up, get them a new some new scenery, and then, you know, once they start playing well, just flip them for picks. You know, late round picks, like two second round picks or something. You know, just something to stock up the cupboard. So if we do go for like a Kawhi, or if we do go for someone, we won't have to trade any major assets, or, you know, or we can lessen the blow by using like more of those picks than giving up like Frank or KP or anyone like that. I don't like Mudiay. I think you know, he's been in the league long enough to develop, but every year he just gets worse. So I don't know. Hopefully Fizdale can do something about his development. But, you know, I watched a documentary on him. You know, he started playing basketball strictly like for the money. So it's not like he was a young kid. You know, he was a young kid going through it, but, you know, he played basketball because of the money, not because, you know, he loved the game. So I don't think he really cares that much about being better, more than, you know, having his family financially secured.
Taken care of. Yeah, because you know, exactly. they went. His family went through some things, in his family's native land.
Yeah,
you know, with you know, war. I don't remember the whole story, but yeah,
in the Congo, right?
In the Congo, right, and I think actually his mother left the Congo, moved to Texas, left them there.
Yeah.
Right, and then came back to get them. It's an interesting story. If you all, you know, take some time and research it, you know, look it up on Google, and you'll read the story about, you know, things that Emmanuel Mudiay and his family in the Congo and some stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, Togar, man, thank you for the call.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Right,
last thing real quick.
Yeah,
so, like, now the question, since we got Fizdale, now the question shifts from, you know, how much of a input is he going to have on the draft, and what type of player would he want to draft from this upcoming draft class?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I think that I think it's going to be, I don't think it's just going to be one guy. I don't think it's like this with any team, except maybe with Phil Jackson there. Phil Jackson is a different type of dude, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be Fizdale, Steve Mills, Scott Perry, whoever the assistants are, the scouting staff. You know, they're going to have a board and they're going to throw out players, and each person is going to, you know, they're going to say, this is the type of player, these are the type of players we want. If it was me, is how I would do it. So I'm picturing this is how they probably would do it. You know, I would have, you know, we want these type of players, and have those things listed on the board. Players that play defense, players that can shoot three, players that can do this, players that can do that. And then as everyone is scouting and gathering their information, we start throwing players up on the board and say, this player can shoot three, this player plays defense, they do this, they do that, and all those type of things. And then we come to a consensus together on who is our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth options.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Those type of, and I think that those are the type of things that they'll do.
Yeah, who do you think? Yeah, just last question, and then I'm gonna hop off. Who do you think is a Fizdale type of player in the draft, or that we can get that would fit that mold?
I think Mikal Bridges is a Fizdale type of guy. I do. I think he's a Fizdale type of guy. You know, he's not gonna play. You know, he's gonna remind me of a Tatum. He's probably not gonna be as good as Tatum, but the same style of play, right? He can play within the offense, but when he gets the chance, he can create for himself. Plays defense. You know, you know, I think he's gonna want the kind of guy that plays the right way, and Mikal Bridges plays the right way.
Yeah, definitely. I hope that Villanova championship didn't boost his stock up to like a top 5 pick or something, or like right out the lottery or something like that.
Right.
6th or 7th pick. So I like that Sexton kid. I think he could be good. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. All right, I'm gonna let you go.
All right, man.
I appreciate you picking up. Hopefully I'll be calling in more and more often.
For sure. We'd love to have you, bro.
Yeah, definitely, bro. I appreciate it.
Man.
All right. Good night to the chat. All right, peace.
Yeah. So now Coach Fizz he's got some thinking to do. He's got some he's got to make up his mind on some things, not just the draft, but what the kind of players that he wants to have on the team. Looking at the roster that we already have, I think that, as I've been saying, I think Kanter could have some problems. I think that Courtney Lee is one guy that I think he's probably a Fizdale type of player, right? But then the question is going to be, will Courtney Lee want to stick around? And should Courtney Lee stick around? Should the Knicks keep him? It's a good question. Especially, veteran leadership is important. But if you can get a guy like Jarrett Jack for cheap, then you might be able to turn Courtney Lee into assets, into young assets. You know what I mean? If you can have, you got Jarrett Jack, you're going to have Joakim Noah. Joakim Noah, for the most part, should be a positive influence in the locker room. He had the riff with Jeff Hornacek. I don't expect that to happen with Fizdale. Right? But, Courtney Lee is going to be an interesting scenario. I think Courtney Lee will definitely like Coach Fizz. But at what point does Courtney Lee want to win? And at what point for the Knicks is it kind of like, we can get more value by trading his contract than keeping him around. But I do think that he would be a Fizdale type of guy. Luke Cornett, I think he'll be a favorite of Fizdale because he can spread the floor. Again, Emmanuel Mudiay may have some issues because he doesn't finish. Not sure if he wants to work hard. Now, we'll see how that goes with Emmanuel Mudiay. Kyle O'Quinn would be probably someone that Fizdale would want to keep around. I think listen, Scott Perry said that he wanted to keep KO around. He said it. When they had that little interview, he said he wanted to keep KO around. So we'll see if maybe they can work something out there. Ron Baker, I'm not sure. It's hard for me to call with Ron Baker. Damian Dotson, I think, because of his size, he's got an NBA body, he plays defense. They're going to want to keep Damian Dotson around. Fizdale, I think, will like Damian Dotson. And if you get someone like Woody in there, develop and some other developmental staff, he's one of the guys you want to keep him around. Troy Williams, I think they want to keep him around. Listen, we do have a lot of pieces. We do have some good pieces. It's just, can we put those pieces together? But we've got some good pieces. We've definitely got some good pieces. Chat. It's 1:40 in the morning. We've been on for about 2 hours. But I'm just excited to talk Knicks and excited to talk about Fizdale. And hopefully tomorrow or the next day there'll be a press conference. Fizdale will hold a press conference, and we'll be able to get on and talk about Fizdale's ideas and what he sees for the team. You know what I mean? And what he sees for the team. But I am going to head off. We didn't really get a chance to talk about the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. That's okay. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk about Fizdale and the Knicks. We all seen what happened. Boston won. I don't think Philadelphia holds a chance of coming back in this series. They're not going to win. They're not going to win 4 of the next, however many games, 4 of the next 5 games or whatever it is. They're not going to win that.
You know what I mean? So I don't think we have to worry about that. I'm just concerned about the Knicks right now. Just concerned about the New York Knicks right now. All right, but Boston and 76ers, they play next on. Let's see when they play next. They play next on Saturday at 5 p.m. That's going to be an interesting scenario for me because at 4:40 p.m. on Saturday, I have an AAU game. We have a tournament about an hour and a half away. So 4:40, the game would be over about 5:40. The Celtics and the Sixers play on ESPN at 5, so I'll be able to catch the game. I'll probably do the show from the road. I'll stop somewhere and do the show or something like that because I don't think I'll be home in time to do it from my regular setup. If I am home, I'll do it from the regular setup. If not, then I'll be doing it from the road. Either way, I'll be doing it. Hopefully I'm home in time to do it from home. All right. But I am going to jump off, you know what I'm saying, because it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. And I got some things I got to get done for tomorrow. So I need to get my rest. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna head off. But let's rejoice in this, New York Knicks fans. Let's rejoice. We made a good hire. The Knicks look like they're moving in the right direction. And I think we're gonna have a lot of positive chats coming up soon because I think the Knicks are doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? They're doing the right thing. So I'm out, man. I want you guys have a good work day tomorrow. If anything happens between now and tomorrow, maybe other people get hired or whatever it is, I'll jump on. You know what I mean? I'll definitely be on Saturday after the 76ers and the Boston Celtics play. All right. So I'm out. I want y'all to have a good day tomorrow. Getting ready for the weekend. Be easy. Be peaceful. Peace. If you enjoyed this stream, please subscribe below. Ring the bell. Get a notification anytime that I go live. Continue to follow us as we talk about the New York Knicks that just hired Coach David Fizdale. And as we get ready for the draft, we'll be following along. As we enter free agency, we'll be following along. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated. Peace.